It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Moshood Yahaya, a passionate and reliable professor with years of experience in the field of data science and machine learning. Our speaker's dedication to using data to insight and make informed decisions is truly commendable. With a creative approach to problem solving, our speaker has tackled challenges across various sectors, including consulting, investment, finance, energy, and retail. Their expertise lies in machine learning and data science modeling, market analysis, forecasting, business intelligence, business process optimization, revenue assurance, performance analysis, and customer need assessment. Our speaker's passion extends to solving a wide range of industrial problems, and they have demonstrated high competency in data science, product development, machine learning, product research, and machine learning engineering. They are deeply committed to knowledge sharing and capacity building with a track record of building communities in data science and artificial intelligence. As a top-level researcher, energetic presenter, and confident communicator, our speaker has a proven record of public speaking at major events and conferences. They have the unique ability to communicate insights clearly and efficiently, aiding in the decision-making process. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our distinguished speaker, Mr. Moshood Yahaya.
Now, I'm here today to talk about the critical evaluation of the future of AI basically in business and society at large. And it's going to be an interesting ride. We've seen huge development in AI in recent time, and how much of that does it concern us? I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see my slide, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Brilliant. Yeah, let's get straight into it then. I think a lot of misconception has popped up in the last few years, especially given the rise of the large language model, the LLMs, and almost everyone typically think, as it were now, that LLM is everything about AI. So you go on LinkedIn and you see someone call themselves an expert in AI just because they know how to prompt the large language model. And that literally introduces us to what the discussion today is. And I'm very much aware that almost everyone in this meeting today is pretty much an AI person to the core. But then, how do we focus on actually disseminating the right information about AI, being able to pass the right knowledge to people about AI? What are the challenges and the issues surrounding the use of AI in businesses and in the society? And more importantly, in recent time, if you're an avid Twitter user like myself, you would see the big guns in AI, the grandfathers of AI, actually grandmasters of AI actually having a clash on Twitter at some point. You see the Andrew NG, you see the Brian of Hussein, you see the Yan LeQuan, and all of them having a chat on Twitter and having an argument about the huge noise surrounding the risk that AI possesses. Some of the people are of the school of thought that AI is here to damage everything we stand for, whilst some of us are actually of the opinion that the noise about AI is just about the minute percentage of the yield that comes from the development that AI brings, and not necessarily define what the future brings. A lot of people already make noise about the fact that AI would take all of our jobs, and everyone is jittering. And you could see the UK government literally set up an event to specifically talk about AI with all world leaders and all of that. And notable quotes is from the one and only Elon Musk, who said one of the biggest existential threats that human race would face is actually AI. Now, that takes us into the discussion of today. how much of a benefit is AI to us, how much of a risk is AI to us, and how much of a challenge is AI actually to us. When the prof was talking, she spoke about a lot of good application of AI, but then those are the sweet spots. What are the risks? What are the challenges? And are the risks and challenges enough for us to completely annihilate ourselves from the use of AI? If that's the case, what then happens in the future? How do we move forward? That takes us into the discussion of today. And this is the agenda for today. How has artificial intelligence evolutionized over time? What are the ways artificial intelligence is currently being applied in different industries? What are the impacts and benefits to the human race? And what are the limitations and challenges it poses to us? It is something we should be scared about. Now, the biggest misconception could come from what we see on TV rather than what's actually happening in reality. Now, our word today, I remember one of my classes in AI one time. A facilitator stood up and asked a simple question, which was, do you think AI is a threat to us? Yes, everybody came up, said different things about it being a threat. And then the next question was, do you think you would like us to go back to what we were in the mid-90s when there was no Google Map, when there was no Uber Eats, when there was no Uber itself, when you watch videos, music videos and movies using the VHS tapes, when you don't have the Spotify's and Netflix, or even LinkedIn, Facebook. These are huge, huge digital products that are built on the power of AI. Maybe started with a tiny bit of AI and then it kept on revolutionizing. I mean, a very simple example is Twitter today. Before Elon Musk came up, Twitter wasn't with the best sort of algorithm. You're literally given exactly retweets, likes, and all of that from the people you follow. But Elon Musk came in, and if I view your post today, in the next 30 minutes or 20 minutes, I start seeing a lot of your posts. That's me viewing your post says I'm interested in your post, and that's the reason they keep suggesting it. And that's the power of recommendation system. The same thing, if you watch a movie today on Netflix, or you watch 2, 3, 4 different movies on Netflix, there's a chance that the movie you're going to like would be suggested to you next. That's the power of recommendation system. Again, YouTube as well. If you watch, I mean, my YouTube, my daughter uses my YouTube, and it will surprise you to see that it's a mixture of what I watch and what she watch. Obviously, mine is more of AI related videos and ours is our cartoons. But then those are the recommendations we get. If I don't use my YouTube for 3 weeks, 1 month, and she's the only one using it, we get more of our recommendation than mine. And all of this is literally AI using the user's behavior to give you what you need. Now, 25 years ago, what was the situation of the world when it comes to AI? Right now, this is 2024. So 25 years ago was about 1999. What was exactly the situation of the world? It was at that time that everything's like, everything seems like Armageddon to us. Every sort of development seems like it's going to take us to the end of the world. And one of the things we can attribute this to is every industrial evolution comes with its sort of challenges. It brings some new set of billionaires, some new sets of knowledgeable people. The past sort of knowledge starts getting a bit obsolete. And then only the people that move with the trend and time tend to have again. Now, a lot of people would make reference of AI from movies. I know a few of us must have seen the movie Sim One from which was enacted by the legendary Al Pacino. In Sim One was a case of a very good digital person that created a literal what's it called, a virtual character and infused the character into a movie. The character became more popular than the person, and people wanted to see the character physically, which wasn't a possibility. Now, this is already happening now because there was a time, I think in Russia, where that an AI was actually put on the ballot box and got a lot of votes. It seems like what would never happen because it's in the movie, but now we're having it. Now, iRobot as well, you could tell iRobot came ahead of its time, but a lot of the things you see in iRobot, some of them are actually happening. Maybe not the dark side, not the bad sides, but some of them are actually happening. You go into a restaurant and you make orders, and the table walks all the way by itself onto your point, and we already have robots doing factory works and all of that. The most important one for me, which is the most relatable, is the person of interest. And this is literally what piqued my interest about AI in the first place. So person of interest is you using AI algorithm to predict the next security risk spots and being able to advise people ahead of time and help them through solving that situation. These are things we never thought would happen in our lifetime, but here we are. Voila. Now, let's talk about the evolution of artificial intelligence. One of the biggest things we don't talk about much enough is the fact that evolution of artificial intelligence and who are those that are benefiting the most. You wake up one day and you hear that Mr. AI has raised $150 million, for example, and you're thinking, oh, the founders are smiling to the bank. But then on the flip side, the huge guys with the chips are the one making the money. The Google, the AWS, the NVIDIAs, and you'll be shocked, NVIDIA's stock has really skyrocketed in the last 2 years because of the huge adoption of large language model. And that's because AI has come of age. It came from when it was literally fuzzy logic and expert system. And we transformed from certain rules based on expert knowledge and falsification of those logics to give us an answer, which is still being done slightly these days. Like, for example, your credit risk algorithm, the first time you go to check your credit score and all of that, it's not really core AI. It's more of a falsification exercise. Now, we moved all from there and got into what we call the weak AI era. The weak AI era is the era where application of AI is to specific areas, like self-driving. It can only solve self-driving problem. If you're using AI to predict stock, it's only going to solve stock prediction problem. It solves only a specific area. It doesn't solve problem autonomously, meaning if you put it up in other area, it doesn't really perform at all except the area that you specifically trained it for. And I mean, all of us are probably are literally in the field, and we know it's more of a case of garbage in, garbage out. So it's what you train the model to do, and that's what it does. In the specific area that it's being trained for, it outperforms human. If you train an algorithm to do stock prediction, it's going to most likely, you might not be 100% sure it will outperform human in terms of accuracy, except you validate and you know the accuracy is right. Then if at the point where the evaluation criteria literally spot on, then it's going to outperform human. But then more importantly, in speed, it outperforms humans. So it's more of a case of the routine task. It helps you to do it a lot better. A lot of people would argue that ChatGPT does a lot more than a single task, but let's be honest, it's still a case of give it a body of text and it replies with a body of text. Single task. And that's why the limitation to extend beyond that space is still there. Now, what then is the next phase? The artificial general intelligence. And that's why every day you open on your LinkedIn, you hear stories about AGIs, stories about AGIs. Everyone is preaching AGI, even those that not written a line of code in artificial intelligence are talking about how they are preparing themselves to be an AGI expert. Those who don't even know the ethical implication and all of that are literally pushing themselves towards that direction because we want the fancy word. But then AGI has been predicted for the last 20, 30 years, and we've always been pushing it towards the next decade. And this is down to what I said earlier, computing capacity, computing resources, the likes of NVIDIA and all of that. Now, there used to be a time where a gigabyte of data space would fill a whole building. Now, a gigabyte of data storage can actually be in your pocket. The more we have better storage capacity and computing capacity, the speed of our computers, we were gradually moving towards the AGI because imagine ChatGPT was trained over billions of data and billions of use cases as well, not just the data. So imagine the speed for you to get the response that you're getting from ChatGPT. If it's still a weak AI, imagine what you need to get into AGI. So that's literally one of the things that will take us there. And what does AGI do? It has application in several areas. The prediction is the easiest chance of getting towards AGI would go to be the NLP side of things. That's the large language model and the likes. It helps us to solve a lot of problems. It performs far more than human in several areas. It's has that tiny bit of intuition like human. And the basic way to check that these days is using the Turing test, which has invalidated a lot of AI technology to not be AGI at the moment. Now, in the far future, which I don't know if any of us here would even be there to witness, is what is the artificial superintelligence. Now, that's the time where AI is self-conscious, self-aware. Literally, the ants is completely let down from human and they do everything on their own. Meaning AI is applied in any area. AI can think like human, move like human, do everything like human. Any area means they can recreate themselves as well. So, and that's where the biggest fear of the future comes about that ripple effect of continuous creation and recreation by AI. And this is an era I don't even want to imagine. And that's where we have in the longer future. Now we move to the next thing, which is the application of AI. I mean, the prof have spoken, and I know a few speakers that have spoken before now would have talked about application of AI in different industries and different spaces. Now, one of the most popular use cases of AI are in the health sector and more importantly in the business space. And you would agree anywhere that people's interest and financial interest are at stake, it tends to grow a lot further than when it's common interest. So business, healthcare, these are places where there are huge financial investment. And that's why those are the spaces that are moving a lot faster. Education as well, catching up a lot. I mean, you see application of AI in recommending educational materials for people, in transcribing videos, in making suggestions on what you should do and all of that. Finance as well. I mean, one of the biggest space for AI experts is actually the finance space. You can do as little as a fraction of what your counterparts in other spaces are doing, and you're earning like times 3, because the financial prediction and forecasting is huge on AI. Legal, I mean, in the US, there was a time where AI was used to predict whether someone is guilty or not. We get into that about the issue of bias as regards that, where typically the chance that a black man will be regarded as guilty is always on the high side. Manufacturing, they are one of the silent adopters of AI, robotics, smart technology, and all of them. And transportation, obviously, it's well flogged. We have self-driving cars now. Security and defense are the parts that we hardly talk about the most. So all of this, we'll talk about it. What are the impacts and benefits in these spaces? Now, the political impact, literally, of AI benefit is the fact that a lot of us watched in the last 2 days the clash between Israel and Iran, and how some of the drones were actually intercepted. And I'm certain no human being has the eagle eye to track a drone with such speed. These are actually some of the use cases of artificial intelligence where military robots and drones operate autonomously, and they can actually track how these things move. One of the biggest thing, which is probably a similar technology that was used by the US, Britain, and Israel in holding down the drones from Iran, is there was a time where countries who don't want other people's fighter jets to go on their airspace actually have devices that brings, if you move on my airspace, the speed is so fast that I cannot keep track of it. But then devices that helps me get the sound of you approaching a lot faster. And then if I want to get you down, I get you down. It's not one of the discussions we like to have because it's scary, the amount of life and all of that involved, but it's actually one of the use cases of AI and where the biggest fear probably lies. Exoskeletons to increase the strength and endurance of human. AI is really, really huge. The insectoid robot that helps to remove bombs in mines and all of that is with the use of AI as well. So humans don't need to put themselves at risk to remove mines on minefields where it's been set by the enemy's militaries to bring down your force, your military force. The use of AI to obviously make decision making, which is one of the most underrated. Then maintenance of planes and ships and all of that. The economic side of things is that AI is, as at 2018, AI was predicted to bring in 15 million new jobs, and a lot of these are actually increasing because nobody predicted the ice spike that came in 2021, 2022. Job gets done a lot faster. And this is a key part that we're going to talk about a lot more. As job gets done a lot faster, there's also the side effect on the people as well, because the job that would typically require 3 seniors and maybe 5 juniors, probably these days would require just the 3 seniors, because a lot of what was required from you is more decision making rather than the legwork sort of things, because you can actually get this done a lot faster. You write your comments use case, and Copilot helps you to write the next line of code and the next line of code, and it's shockingly accurate. And we've seen people that build a whole sort of application using ChatGPT and the likes. So it enhances the way jobs are done, increases productivity, and it takes routine and boring tasks away because you can automate these things. Societal, you increase the interaction between people because, like I said, you can actually use behavior of the people to recommend what they like and all of that. So I make a lot of friends on Twitter that I wouldn't have made if not for the use of AI to help to enhance interaction, predict prediction of sicknesses. I mean, one of the earliest use cases that any new person in AI gets to have is predicting cancer in patients and all of that. So it's one of the biggest enhancements as well. And environmental, this is one of the ironic parts. While AI can actually be used to reduce energy consumption, AI itself is one of the biggest, to reduce energy consumption. AI itself is one of the biggest form of energy, source of energy consumption itself, because the data centers and the computing resource center and all of that consume huge energy. I think about 45% of the world energy consumption come from that space. So it's a bit ironic. The same thing about emission. AI can help to solve the problem of emission, but the data center, what we're emitting from there is actually more than what a lot of countries are emitting. So it's all about, it's neither here nor there in that case, but then we'll look at it. Smart city, helping people to build smart houses. You walk out of your house, the light shuts down by itself. Flexible energy grids, and the technologies are there easily for us. ChatGPT being one of the most groundbreaking innovation from AI. And the legal aspect, as I talked about, predicting who is guilty or who might be guilty or not, and predicting crime or sport based on occurrence. Typical example is what I talked about with a person of interest, which is literally in application a lot more now. What are the limitations that we have in the application of AI? Now, a lot of what we have so far falls into the artificial narrow intelligence, like I said. And this includes Siri, recommendation engine, search engine, chatbots, even ChatGPT. And majority of the technologies you've seen are actually in the artificial narrow intelligence space, because they can only do a single task and they can only outperform human in that task. They can't in other spaces. And this is down to limited computing capacity, which is ironic again. Now, are we capable of achieving strong AI? Yes, I guess so. But then it's still a bit down the line, not really imminent to us as a lot of people are making it to sound. Because what seems surprising to people outside AI, if you're in the space, would not be surprising to you. So you don't see it as magical as people outside the space would take it to be. So yeah, our experts are optimistic. However, it's difficult to determine how far away we are from realizing this. And that's a typical quote from Dr. Evan Scott, who is the founder and CEO of Code Robot. We've always been saying it. It's going to be next decade. It's going to be the next decade and the next and the next. And we've really not nicked the artificial general intelligence. Now, AI is rapidly growing, and the capability has made people think a lot about the inevitability and the proximity of AI taking over the world. Is it something that can happen? What are the key concerns? AI can actually be used to do something devastating. We saw the drone strike and the counter attack on the drone as well. Now, we might actually see it as less concerned because it involves countries, but then imagine someone having a breakthrough in his house and is able to design sophisticated stuff that will do these things, and you know how paranoid the mind can go. And that's why I think Zuckerberg once mentioned that the biggest challenge we have regarding AI is what if it gets to the wrong hands, and how do we control it getting into the wrong hands? We're going to get into a bit of that eventually. It can be used for something beneficial, but it can also be used for something destructive. So how do we manage the application of AI to ensure it's always about rewarding? And that's why a lot of people would even, the word AI for good is really moving at a pace in these days, because we're looking at how we can use AI to do good things. Now, the challenges in the application of AI, again, the law, deadlock or innovation, we've talked about that. Politics, war, peace, the more easy it is for nations to get their hands on sophisticated ways of demolishing the opposition, the easier we're getting towards extinction, I guess. So that's where the big thing lies. Somebody can wake up one day, build something, and we don't know if it's going to make the earth heaven for us, or I mean the society make it heaven for us or hell in that case. Technology, are we collapsing everything we know about technology, or we're actually controlling or building? In terms of pollution, again, AI helps to solve pollution issue from other spaces, but AI itself is the biggest source of pollution in the world. So it's always a two-sided coin, and it's always a long-term debate. It depends on which side of the bias you stand, and that determines what you credit. And it also depends on the sort of information you're privileged to be, your personality to think nobody can be a bad person. All of this determine how you view the application of AI. Now, key things to look at is this. The past industrial revolution came with some sort of challenges, and the intelligence revolution which we're in is going to come with its challenges. The foundation to which the Industrial Revolution was built on was to harness power of physical and manual labor, while in this case, it's about intelligence and power of thinking. That's why the job, if you're the kind of person that likes to do routine and you don't want to grow, you don't want to do things a lot faster and that, you might actually gradually get phased out by AI, because AI at a point, and that's what the CEO of NVIDIA once said, that their plan is to work towards a space where people would not need to learn to code, but then they only need to learn to innovate, to think, to ideate, and then you get something that you speak to that puts your idea towards. And gradually you can tell with ChatGPT agents already, an HR person can actually build a better GPT agent than a developer, because they have better domain knowledge. So it's getting to time where expertise and thinking and domain knowledge becomes even more important, which is opposite of what people are making it to be like it's just going to take our job. No, it's going to take the job of the person who is half-baked.
Dear
And
professor, sorry to interrupt you. Just wanted to inform you that we have got 5 minutes left for the speech.
okay, I'll just speed through. Yeah, so I mean, the Industrial Revolution was displayed by machines powered by steam, but now we're talking about AI, robots, faster computer. The scale of the Industrial Revolution was siloed, but in this case, it was siloed, literally focused on countries and industries, but now it's on global level. Whatever innovation that happens in the US gets used by anybody in any part of the world straight up. Disruption is digital mental, and the impact can be low, medium, or high. And governance currently only favors data protection and not necessarily on human rights and all of that. No human rights at this case. Now, these are notable quotes from the big men. Nick Bostrom said, "The unfinished fable of a sparrow is what he linked AI to," and it's literally saying it depends on the way you look at it. It could be negative or positive. Elon Musk tagged AI as the biggest existential threat yet to the human race, while Zuckerberg says the positive outweighs the negative, but then regulation is required because there's a challenge if AI gets to the hand of the wrong people. Bill Gates says organization and individuals should be wary of the possible implication of AI. And what's the way forward? I mean, a lot of work have been done to tell us that the way forward has to be about enforcement of smart regulation, employment, and creating framework where machine and human can work together, ethics to ensure that you don't build what will be detrimental to the human race. And education, AI should be a key part of every form of education, at least on the basic level. We need to all adapt to the advances in AI, and it helps humans to think better, in my view. And what are we looking at? AI, literally, we're moving from the ontological approach to ethics to the consequential approach, which literally is talking about the fact that what you do brings about a result. And this is literally what we need to focus a lot more, which is the benefit of whatever we do, because a lot of time when it comes to the capitalists, it's more about the greater goods to them. But now we have to focus more on the benefit approach before building. No, so what helps us to have a responsible AI is the fact that it has to be explainable. When what you're building is not explainable, then it shouldn't be built. If it's not monitorable, it shouldn't be built. If you can't reproduce it, it shouldn't be built. If it's not secured, human-centered, if it's not unbiased, and if it's not justifiable, you don't build it. And this is public intelligence matrix built by Sherry Matthew and his team, a popular AI intelligence advocate in the UK. And it's all about the fact that when you're building and it stays around the green zone, then it means it's a green light to build. If it's in the yellow zone, which means it's pilot, exploration, you're not sure of where you're landing, then all of this, it's literally the case of you trying to change a bit to meet the right ethical standard. But when you're around the amber, then it's saying, don't do it, replace, don't do it. Now, the summary is this, and this is the takeaway from me. The future is about human and AI, or human and machine working together, however you put it. And AI will bring you what you want the most, and that is time. What you're going to do that takes you 20 hours would actually be done using AI in 5 minutes. And we all wish we have longer time in a day to live. So if AI gives you time, I think it's giving you the most important thing in life. So I think the key focus should all be about working to use AI to make our work better rather than the huge clamor about AI being the disease it is. Thank you very much, everyone. You can reach me on LinkedIn using the barcode and through the email. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for your great presentation. Now we have got 5 minutes for question and answers. There are few questions. Can you please check on the chat box?
Oh, okay. Trying. Okay, got it. Yeah, AI is for labeling and what? Military drone use AI for target recognition at least. Okay, that's just a comment. Yeah, AI is for labeling it. That's a comment as well. We've got 5 minutes for. I don't think there's a question. It's all comments here.
I have a question.
Okay.
The question is, you suggested AI for robotics application, but
Yeah.
the current AI does not provide any notion about accuracy and confidence in the recognition, which is very dangerous if you use it on a robot. If you have a robot and the AI is doing something wrong or is not familiar with the situation, the robot can go nuts, and the controller has no way of stopping it. And nobody, I don't see anyone working on it. So how do you see it as an application for industry if you don't have these features in the current AI?
Yeah, and the first thing is, if you look at there's a bit of a cycle where I talked about responsible AI in the middle and what makes you apply. The first thing is your application safe? If it's not, then abort mission. Is it responsible? If it's not, again, then you're abort mission. And you would see a lot of application these days with AI in robotic is usually in and around manufacturing for now. It's hardly outside manufacturing. And that's because, number one, the risk of human danger is a lot lower in that space. And obviously, like you said, the accuracy would have to be a lot higher for you to even try. What's it called? The failure margin in engineering is as minute as 0.001. So to apply AI, even in manufacturing, would have to be at its highest form of accuracy as possible. This again points to the fact that we're still far away from having AI perform exactly all we do. Now, if you take it, for example, look at Tesla, for example. If you're in the US, you use Tesla to drive around easily without holding the steering yourself. And that's because they have wider roads and all of that. But if you use Tesla between the cities in the UK, your chances of having an accident is a lot higher. Just mirror that into the robotic question. Basically, the field of application might be easy in manufacturing where it displaces human completely, but then you still have to maintain a high level of accuracy before you even attempt to apply. I don't know if that answers your question.
My point was that you don't need high accuracy if the system is able to tell you the accuracy it can achieve, and the current AI cannot do it. So you have to push it towards high accuracies because the system cannot tell you accurate the current system.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this would be going too far, I guess.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you so much for having me.